Do you have difficulties understanding the behavior of the opposite sex? Do you and your partner end up in arguments? And most importantly, would you like a better insight into the psychology of the opposite sex and how their minds operate? Then stay with me over the next 7 minutes or so as we do a crash course deep into what triggers both men and women for good and bad, and how you can be a mastermind of them all. Hi, welcome back to this channel. My name is Dr Aziz. I'm a psychology graduate of Cambridge University and also a medical doctor. In this video, I'll be covering the timeless manual Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by Dr. John Gray. When first released in the 90s, it was the highest ranked non-fiction work, and to date over 15 million copies have been sold. As always, you don't have to read it because I've already done that for you, and we'll be presenting all the key points. We'll be learning how to connect with your partner, the 6 primary love needs of men and women, and yes, they are different, and why men are like rubber bands whilst women are like waves. When in a relationship, the default expectation can be to expect our partners to act exactly like we do, but of course they don't, leading to confusion and frustration. Women often complain men don't listen, men often complain they don't get their own space. When men are upset, they prefer to withdraw into their man cave, temporarily disengaging from his relationship. He doesn't want her to worry, he just wants some time alone. But this can leave the woman feeling helpless and dejected. But in reality, men and women have different expectations. Women often just want to be listened to. Men look to solve a problem and feel frustrated when they cannot. In both scenarios, the man and woman are left upset because naturally they are hardwired to have different methods of dealing with problems. It's almost as though they are from 2 different planets. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. The key message in this book, right from the get-go, as suggested by the title, is that men and women love in different ways. More crucially, love thrives when we learn to accept these differences rather than suppress them. It may sound obvious, but men and women empower one another when they communicate effectively. Sometimes we can assume our partner sees everything the way we do, all the pros and cons, but often only when we explain our thoughts and point of view does the other party start to understand. Men may not give enough to a relationship because he fears being rejected. What he needs to do is listen to the woman and do small things to show how he cherishes her. Small gifts like a rose or even a chocolate bar may not mean much to a man, but mean so much more to a woman. Men can improve also by not taking hyperbolic statements such as "we never go out" literally. Instead of becoming defensive and compiling a list of all the times you have been out, acknowledge that all she really is saying is that she wants to go out and have some fun together. Dr. Gray, the author, suggests women can improve by being more forgiving. When she shows appreciation for things that her partner already does, he will be encouraged to give more. As covered in the animated summary of both How to Win Friends and Influence People and A Complaint-Free World, which I'll link both below, try and adhere to the mantra of never criticize, condemn or complain. Remember, positive reinforcement, i.e. praising good actions, is almost always more productive than berating someone, and this applies to both men and women. The book then goes on to explain that there are many different cycles in a relationship, and no, not just that one. Men and women experience different intimacy cycles that affect their abilities to give and receive love. A man's intimacy is like a rubber band. He pulls away and snaps right back. Once men have fulfilled their desire for love and closeness, their need to feel independent returns. In a relationship, a man can lose his sense of self, and by pulling away, he gets back in touch with himself and his personal boundaries. The best thing women can do when he secludes himself is simply just let him be. He is not rejecting the woman, he just wants his own space. A man, for his part, can do good by reassuring her that he just needs to be alone for a bit, that he will return, and that when he does, he will be fully present. A woman's intimacy cycle can be very different. When a woman feels good about herself, she can be very caring and giving, but like a wave, this cannot be sustained and often comes crashing down, leaving them feeling low in self-esteem, empty, vulnerable, and in need of emotional support. A man may mistakenly assume that the crashing wave is his fault and again attempt to fix XYZ problem when really there isn't anything to be fixed. The best thing the man can do is offer unconditional love and support. Just listen attentively. Dr. Gray advises that both men and women must not suppress their natural intimacy cycles. If they do, they may suffer from guilt, become passive and numb. Express yourselves, be yourselves, but also recognize and respect each other's differences. Men and women have different psychological needs in a relationship. For men, these are trust, approval, appreciation, admiration, acceptance, and encouragement. For women, there are 5 key factors. They need caring, understanding, respect, devotion, and validation. Now, these may sound a little bit vague, so what practical points can we implement? For men, they can practice the art of focused listening. Just listen attentively. Don't search for a solution. Show empathy. If you have trouble concentrating and your mind's drifting off to the football game, there are some useful tips how to be present in the animated summary, The Charisma Myth. I'll also link that below. For women, give men their space. Do not berate him when he has made a mistake or keep scores of errors. Men need to be respected by both their peers and partners as much as a woman needs to be loved. Arguments can ruin a relationship. We all know at least one couple that argues all the time. We also know know of couples who appear quiet on the surface, but there are a lot of hidden stress. Both extremes can burn out any love. So how do we avoid arguments? When negative emotions arise, the key is to communicate them lovingly. Men can often initiate an argument by flippantly dismissing a woman's concern. "What's the big deal?" or "Don't worry so much." Secretly, they resent feeling criticized, rejected, or even as though they are being treated like a child. Rather than react and escalate things, a woman can weaken a man's impulse to argue by making him feel accepted, admired, encouraged, and appreciate him. Women, on the other hand, can often start arguments by communicating disapproval. They can often feel unsupported, judged, or worst of all, not heard, something Dr. Gray refers to as being minimized, something that men would do well to be aware of and try not to do. One way of facilitating dialogue and stop another argument, the author suggests, although it may sound a little antiquated, is to write a love letter to your partner. In this letter, you let out all your feelings in 5 specific categories: anger, sadness, fear, regret, and love. For example, "I feel frustrated, I feel disappointed because of XYZ." Then write a response letter. This response letter should describe the loving response you'd like to receive from your partner. Yes, written by you. You can share these letters with one another, but even if you choose not to, you are reckoning and engaging with your feelings rather than keeping them bottled up. Knowing how to ask for support will keep your love alive. Men are naturally less inclined to offer help. They need to be asked for it. To compound this, women often find it difficult to ask men for support. To combat this issue, Dr. Gray advises on a 3-step approach. Number 1, ask him to do the little things he already does. Be brief and direct, and then show lots of appreciation. Number 2, ask him to do things that are new to him. These should be things where you would appreciate support, but it's not a big deal if you don't receive it. If he says no, just say okay. Men don't like being told what to do. Number 3, after practicing steps 1 and 2, assertive asking. Once you have made your request, stay silent. Even if he says no, accept it. Again, he is more likely to comply later on. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that summary. If you're keen on learning more about relationships and the opposite sex, we'll be producing an animated summary of the 5 love languages. So be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button for that. Any suggestion or comments, please post down below. Until next time, stay safe.